All right, so I did that, and I found that Trump banned people from the military who were trans, and I found that Trump did his own speech that was entirely anti-trans, saying that he was going to be eliminating most paths forward for trans people. I did a video on that already. I already did that research. I already did that research, but, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. I did my research, and I came to my own conclusions, and that was not enough for you. Well, don't be curious anymore. The topic is going to be this little it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because we got to talk about trans people in the military for a minute. Because I did I had a short release about this a while ago, and you know, if you haven't seen it yet, then here, this was the short. Trump doesn't have the best record when it comes to trans people. During his time in office, he actually banned trans people from being in the military, and while you may think that that's a great thing in general, because who would want to be subjected to the horrors of being in the United States military, the military is one of the few guaranteed ways that trans people have the ability to get their health care, to get transitioning care, to get HRT, to get the therapy that they might need. The military is a way of making sure that that is available to us. It's an awkward catch-22, but it is still a thing. Okay, so that was the video I made. That was the short. Now, let's get into the fan art section, and we'll get into what is causing today's content stream to be what it is. So, let us begin. The first one here is from Sylvia Silica. Bad Ideas Late in the Day, #2. Hammer-chan and Moon-kun. And Suris is there too, I guess. Oh god, I'm done. I'm done. Let's go to the next one. The next one is from Nubian. No context other than just it's a furry Suris. It's just a cat with tits. It's a cat with tits. It's a cat. Tits. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, Drossus, thank you for redeeming your points for an OWO, and let's go ahead and get into, well, I mean, Dumpy's over there just staring off into the sunset, which is currently being consumed by what you people have named Hole-chan behind me. I give up. I give up. Guys, we're gonna read a comment. We're gonna read a comment. This one right here. So, this says, so fun fact, Trump is the only president in U.S. history to support trans people before and after he became president. I'm just putting that out there in hopes you do your own research on the subject and come to your own conclusions. All right, so I did that, and I found that Trump banned people from the military who were trans, and I found that Trump did his own speech that was entirely anti-trans, saying that he was going to be eliminating most paths forward for trans people. I did a video on that already. I already did that research. I already did that research, but, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. I did my research, and I came to my own conclusions, and that was not enough for you. Person says, I see that you didn't take my advice and research the topic. Instead, you replied instantly based on your emotions. It's because I already did the research, like, well before this. I do videos on this all the time. The research is my job. You should change that. Research is good for you. I just went, literally made an entire speech announcing the scientific consensus on trans kids. Like, dude. Person says, what do you believe the scientific consensus to be? Well, currently, the consensus is that to make sure that trans people are happier, we should let them transition. We also have a consensus on puberty blockers, which is that they are largely harmless. There is still research to be done on long-term effects, but largely the long-term effects seem to be things to do with calcium deficiencies mostly. But the current accepted thing in science to do with trans people is let them transition. That's the science. That's where we are. And then they go, as you said in your video, they are only joining the military to abuse the system, then leave. This is not how the military is supposed to operate. This is common sense. Also, did you know that because of all the trans accommodations, recruitment in the military is at breaking lows? All right, so I really want to use the R slur for you. I really want to call you repugnant. I really want to. But what I'm going to do instead is make this video making fun of you for being an idiot. New start. Maybe you should make a new start on your own ability to engage in topics on the internet. You probably should. You probably should. I responded in the comment, abuse the system, so taking advantage of the benefits provided is abuse. But here I'll expound on that a little bit more. So when you go into a job and a job has a benefits package and you use the benefits package, that is not abuse. If you go into a job for the, let's say, contractual amount of time, 4 years, and use the benefits provided by that job for the time that you are in that job, that's not abuse. You signed a contract and an agreement with that company, in this case, the United States military, and when you signed that agreement with them, you agreed to stay on for a certain amount of time. In that time, they agreed to provide you with medical care for a variety of things that you may or may not need. One of those things is transition. Guess what? It's not abuse to use the tools given to you by the company. It is only an idiot, literally an absolute bellend, a fuckwad, if you will, a moron, if you shall, an absolute person who's not responsible with the way they operate on the internet, that would be so stupid as to come onto my comment section and try to tell me that using benefits given to you by an employer is abusing a system. No, you agree with any employer to give your body for labor in exchange for money and services. Services like healthcare and money like money. You know, the military knows that it's not the best job in the world. It knows it's a shit fucking job. The military, all the branches of the military, including the dumb one that thinks it operates in space, all of them know that their recruitment packages include accelerated earnings. They include paths forward in career. They include the GI Bill, and they include medical insurance. Because it's hard to sell your literal death machine to anybody any other way. But okay, don't worry, it's definitely the trans people in the military that are causing record lows. Interesting. So let's go ahead and let's do some reading. Let's do some reading. You want me to do some research? Here's research, live, fed right into your gullet. Let's go. While some Republicans blame the COVID-19 vaccine, or wokeness, for the Army's recruiting woes, the military service says the bigger hurdles are more traditional ones. Young people not wanting to fucking die! Wow! Holy fucking shit! What a concept! People don't want to get shot! People don't want to deal with the stress of Army life and put their lives on hold to dedicate their lives to the Army. They don't see the Army as something that's relevant. They see us as revered but not relevant in their lives. Addressing those long-time issues has taken on greater urgency as the Army tries to recover from its worst recruiting year in decades, a situation aggravated by the tight jobs market. The Army is offering new programs, advertising, and enticements in an effort to change perspectives and reverse the decline. One incentive gives the recruiters bonuses of up to $4,500 per quarter if they exceed their baseline enlisted requirement. A pilot program allows young enlisted soldiers, those in the 3 lower ranks, to get a promotion if they refer someone who enlists to go to basic training. Only one promotion per soldier is allowed. The Army fell about 15,000 soldiers short of its 60,000 recruitment goal last year when all the branches struggled to meet their recruiting goals. Army Secretary Christine Wormuth said the Army has set a difficult goal for this year, aiming at 65,000 recruits, which would be 20,000 more than in 2022. Said, I think we're seeing some forward momentum, but it's still too early to tell whether we will likely land at it this fiscal year. I know we'll do better than we did last year. Guiding the Army's efforts are surveys intended to help pinpoint why young people dismiss the Army as a career. Boy howdy, let's find out if it's those damn transes. These surveys were conducted over 4 months last spring and summer. They involved about 600 respondents aged 16 to 28 per month. The Army discussed the general findings with the Associated Press, but declined to provide detailed methodology, saying the surveys were done by a private research contractor and that licensing agreements prevented the public from seeing the data collection details. That's pretty standard. Officials said that based on the surveys, young people simply did not see the Army as a safe place or a good career path, and believed that they would have to put their lives and careers on hold if they enlisted, which is true. That's true. Army leaders said that very few say that they are deterred from enlisting due to wokeness. In fact, concerns about discrimination against women and minorities is seen as a bigger issue, along with more general distrust in the military. Wokeness is, of course, a slang term that originally described attentiveness to issues of racial and social justice. Some people in some groups, especially conservatives, now use it as a derogatory, implying what they see as overreactions. Republicans in Congress, including Representative Jim Banks, chairman of the House Armed Services Subcommittee and military personnel, have pledged to target wokeness this year. Banks, RIND, has said exposing and dismantling the Biden administration's woke agenda that is driving down military recruitment and retention will be a top priority for him this year. His spokesman, Buckley Carlson, said combating wokeness at the Defense Department will be a key issue for the congressman. So this is where that claim is coming from. A couple of idiots saying it. But what do the surveys actually say? What do they say? The Army says that on average, only 5% of the respondents in the survey listed wokeness as an issue, compared with 13% who believe that women and minorities will face discrimination and not get the same opportunities. Wormuth said the survey data is a tool to assuage the concerns that some may have, whether influencers or members of Congress, about wokeness of the vaccine mandate, which is now rescinded, and show that they are not, by any means, primary drivers of the recruitment challenges that they are experiencing. She said the information from surveys also provides insight on how the Army needs to better explain benefits. Fink, the Army's marketing head, said the top 3 reasons young people cite for rejecting the military's enlistment are the same across all the services. Fear of death, worries about post-traumatic stress disorder, leaving friends and family, in that order, dying, side effects of almost dying, and not being around the people who love you. Those are the worries. Those are them. Those are the worries, not fucking trans people. That's not the worry. He said the Army wanted a better understanding of any additional barriers to service beyond these top 3. By a significant margin, he said the most common response beyond numbers 1 through 3 was, "I will be putting my life on hold." That was cited by more than 1 in 5 people surveyed. Many young people don't know anyone in the Army and are unfamiliar with jobs or benefits that it offers. Fink said trust in government's institutions, including the military, has declined, particularly among this group. They just don't perceive the Army as being in touch with the modern, everyday culture that they're used to. Fink said about 10% of the survey say they don't trust military leadership based on the recent events or missions that have been handled. That could include the Afghanistan withdrawal or the use of military during racial unrest and protest in the United States. Other reasons get much smaller mentions. They include concerns about living conditions on military bases, getting assigned to unwanted jobs, the coronavirus vaccine, and the wokeness issue. In some cases, those reasons vary by region, but Fink said the wokeness issue is pretty consistent, 4 and 5% across the nation, without much variance by gender or ethnicity. Holy shit! New start. My person, my friend, I don't know your gender, nor do I give a shit. You mean that little to me. How many ways can I explain to you that you've been fed a pile of bullshit, and then somehow, within this pile of bullshit, you seem to have rummaged around and grabbed the idea that you're some independent free thinker who's regurgitating points said by people in higher positions of power than you. Wow. Look at you. You're so free thinking. You're so special. Aren't you so happy? Look at you. You even got all this attention from a streamer, too. Oh, your life must be looking up. It really must be. But anyway, so yeah, no, it's not trans people that are the problem. Nobody's going into the military worried that there's going to be a girl that just happens to have something they're not expecting in their pants, or a guy who does too. They're not worried about that. That's not what they're worried about. Nobody gives a shit. But okay. Go ahead. Keep peddling your fear-mongering. It's just fear of death. It's fear of being separated from your family. It's the same things it's always been. It's just more of that. But okay. Anywho, have fun when nobody's sleeping with you. As always, everybody, Insert end of video tagline here.